I'm Professor Tyler Foster. I teach physics and astronomy. I'm a radio astronomer by training, so I was trained at the Dominion Radio Astrophysical Observatory in Penticton, BC, and that was run by the National Research Council of Canada, and I missed students because we didn't have classes out there. I missed teaching, so I came here in 2006, and I've been happy ever since. We are in the BU Astronomical Observatory, which is on the roof of McMaster Hall, the tallest residence building. I'm actually told this is the tallest building in Brandon. 12 stories of it, but it's nice height. The city of Brandon is small enough and spread out enough that we don't get a lot of light pollution. It's actually amazing, for a city the size of Brandon. The skies are pretty dark here in the middle of our downtown campus. So it is a good location. And so we put this telescope up here in 2009, replacing a 40-year-old telescope that was there before. This telescope is robotic. It can be controlled from anywhere on campus through a computer. The only thing that isn't controllable in here is the dome. You have to manually move it around like this. We use this place now for mostly student outreach and public outreach and a bit of teaching. I think it was 1970, 1971. Just after the Brody Science Building was built, they got money to put an observatory up on this building. So they hoisted this observatory up with a crane. The original telescope was a 10-inch reflecting telescope with a mirror, which served its purpose. It was great. It hosted lots of student nights and made the public very happy. And as I say, in 2009, we decided it was time to replace that old telescope. We contacted a company in the US called RC Optical Systems. They manufactured this custom for BU, this telescope. And the old telescope we donated to Wawanesa School, just south of here, because one of the teachers there was an alumni of physics at BU, and he built an observatory for that telescope. I'm one of two astronomers in the Department of Physics. Austin Gulliver was the other one. He recently retired, and he'd been here 40 years, and he's done just world-changing research on stellar spectra and the atmospheres of stars over his career. So the department decided we would rename this observatory the Austin Gulliver Observatory. To get this telescope up here, the infrastructure was here, the dome was here, the pier was here, just the telescope and the computer control system, which is in another room. Most of it was funded by the Viola Lobodowski Endowment. The Dean of Science kicked in a lot of money then too to make this a reality. Since then, funding comes from NSERC Promo Science. I've done a lot of NSERC Promo Science grants. Get funding to hire summer students to run the place so that we can do outreach in summers when it's pleasant to be up here. And we do lots of observing nights for mini university kids. And we used to do about one public night a month too, pre-COVID. We're kind of getting back on track now with that. It's not a competitive research instrument. It's not meant to be, though. It's a campus observatory. It's for the public, showing them what we do, what we teach. And this telescope does have research capabilities, so we do use it to train students on research methods in astronomy. How to take your own data, how to calculate the distance of stars, colors of stars, measure the heights of mountains on the moon. We can see planets going around other stars with this telescope, exoplanets. We've done it all up here. It's a great training observatory because it does everything a big research telescope would do. It's just not that big. I've seen a lot of strange things, yes, but I do remember, I think it was 2009, it's just after we got this telescope, one of my former students, Zyra Winder, was up here observing, and that night a supernova explosion happened in the Whirlpool Galaxy, which is a galaxy in the constellation of the Big Dipper. And these things are rare, supernova explosions. And it was bright enough to be seen, and Zyra just happened to be taking pictures of it that night. And she took pictures of it, and you see this brand new star in the galaxy. And it's a big deal because astronomers like to study supernova. They're kind of rare. So we found out, though, we'd been scooped by an observatory in Paris who'd just seen it 8 hours prior to us. So we almost had that discovery, but we have some portable telescopes with solar filters, and we try to set those up. We've done it in a soccer field. We've done it in front of Brody on Louise Avenue there during eclipses, such as April last year, there was the great eclipse that was total in Niagara Falls in eastern Canada. It was about 60-70% depth here. And so we had hundreds of people out on the front of the Brody building, and Austin Gulliver and I had two telescopes set up. We were watching the eclipse. It was good. It's actually rare that BU, being such a small campus, we have such a relatively big observatory with a great, expensive telescope like this. Some of our undergraduates, through physics majors, they can take a course in their third year called Advanced Laboratory, and if they're interested, we bring them up here to do astronomy experiments, teach them observing methods and research methods with the telescope. If you want to be trained as an astronomer and know all the research methods that I learned as a young'un and I still use today in my career, a major in physics is the way to go, because you'll get a chance to use this telescope to do several interesting projects. As I say, we measure the ages of star clusters and the distances to galaxies and the mass of Jupiter and Saturn. We can do all that measurements with this telescope, just like the pros. We have 2 service courses in our department, Solar Systems Astronomy, 74-184, and Galaxies in the Universe, 185, following term, where we bring our class up at least once a month for their own private observing nights, just for the class and their friends and families. So people take the class mainly for that, I think, maybe. And if you can't take any courses here, you don't have to take a science outreach course or a science credit course like that. You can get in touch with me, fostert@brandonu.ca, and I can put you on the mailing list, and you can get mail outs when we do public nights. We do some regular nights, like we do July 1st fireworks watching from up here. We can see well into the valley when they fire off the fireworks. We do many university nights during the summer. Fall is our busiest time, because lots of students come back to campus. I always do a welcome back night up here for BUSU, all the students on campus. And as I say, the astronomy class gets up here at least once a month.